Adapting real life to video games is often a difficult thing to do. What works in real life doesn't necessarily have to work in a video game, especially when it comes to military tactics. Often there's a limit given by the gaming mechanics or the speed of a video game. At least I haven't seen somebody YY, slide cancel and bunny hop in my 15 years of military experience. Fortunately, there are certain things that provide a basic idea which we then can adapt and change to match the mechanics of Call of Duty and ultimately help our game to get to the next level. There is one thing every expert will tell you about urban combat and especially about room clearing. If you're in it, it's too late, man. So take that information and relax. Most of the time you will get killed in urban combat. That's just the nature of multiple buildings, stories, windows, rooms and angles. But let me help you to raise your chance of surviving. First of all, choose the direction you want to attack a building. It's either from top to bottom or bottom to top. You never want to start engaging into a building somewhere in between. This gets you killed much more often, because you can get pinched in between and you never have the data if somebody potentially can come from behind. If you'd ask me, I would always choose top to bottom in the first place, because high ground is king and it gives you a better opportunity to disengage, and also you can secure your surroundings much easier if necessary. The most basic and important thing though is get knowledge of the building that you want to attack. Your biggest threat is everything that you don't know about. So don't rush it and take your time to get to know everything where you feel uncomfortable. Run around a building and gather intel as fast as possible or hover above and scout for a second. Take this building for example. It basically just has a roof and the story right under it. Also two main entrances to get to the top, the stairway and the zip. I recommend taking the zip every single time because it's not that exposed. Much faster and with a jump at the end by holding backwards and pressing jump before you reach the end and immediately holding forward, you surprise everyone that is up there. Everyone that is up there. But did you also know you can get on top of it without using one of these or even a parachute that gives away your position because it's as noisy as a starting jet? Take one of the redeploy drones and fly on top of it without using your chute. You will survive every landing as long as its height is not lower than 13 meters or 26 meters below the height of the zip, depending on the use of mountaineer perk. Alright then, you made it. And now let's head over to the difficult part, how to actually clear a room. If you're all by yourself, you're screwed. F it and run. Or man up and fight. This is where it gets complicated. In real life, you have much more time, so we need to separate some things and distinguish between video game and real life. Let's get this straight. The defender is always having the advantage here. So we need to find ways that potentially give us the upper hand. These things are intel, tacticals and lethals, or kill streaks and field upgrades. Personally, I avoid every CQB without one of these if I can. So first of all, in real life and in video games, intel is one of the most crucial elements. What does that mean for us? If a door is open, you have the opportunity to get some data of the room you're facing, especially if you never entered it before. In real life, you would go an arc from one side to another. You can do this in Call of Duty too, but you have to be quick. Why? In real life, you can position your body so that you're not exposed before your muzzle is on target. Whereas in Call of Duty, we simply don't have this mechanic. So if you do it slowly, your enemy sees you and is able to hit shots before you're even lined up with your optic. So do it quick so that you have the chance to get into cover. I would always check if I have the time, because it eliminates at least part of the unknown. You can even open the door and use it as cover to one side of the room to gather more intel. Step in and immediately out to avoid getting shot. You wouldn't do this in real life, of course, because you want to avoid getting hit by any bullets. There's no quick fix here. In this building, you can use both doors to have crossing line of sights and to eliminate threats before entering. This will help your decision of where to go once you're inside. Okay, time to engage the enemy now. Again, in real life and in Call of Duty, you always want to use tacticals and lethals before entering a room that is occupied by the enemy. Find your preferred ones, but I run thermobaric grenades because of their stun and AoE as my lethals, and smokes of course as my tacticals. If you lived under a rock to this point, smokes break aim assist and it works both ways, so be aware of that. In real life, you'd probably want to run stun or flash grenades, and you would enter a room right when they detonate, because the time window it gives you would be too short if you do it way after their detonation. Soldiers train themselves to get used to the effect. You can't do this in COD, otherwise these would affect you too, but with smokes it's the same idea basically. If you can time it right, enter the room just before the smoke appears. So you still have that intel on your enemy and ping him right away. This definitely needs practice, but you'll get there. You can also use tacticals to eliminate dead angles where you don't want to move to. For example, you want to go right, but you don't know what's left. Smoke left side and move right. But how should we move? How can you get into a room and maximize your chances to survive? Teammates would definitely raise your chances exponentially. If you don't have them, it's going to be rough. In real life, you'd enter a room very quick, precise and determined, with your gun up front ready to shoot immediately. In Call of Duty, you're limited to the ADS walking speed, or if you sprint, to your sprint to fire and ADS speed. So this is where real life and video gaming fall apart again. But what we can do here is we can adapt that moment of surprise from real life that is created by quick and precise movement and transfer it into Call of Duty. The question is, how can we create the same effect? And yes, I guess here it is again, but it is so crucial we can't ignore it if we want to get better. The key mechanic is slide cancel in the right moment. Being precise and fast, slide cancel way before you enter the room and come up right next to your cover facing the threat direction you choose. FPS, the enemy expectations, and the fast ADS time will give you the advantage you need to raise your chances even more. Speaking of directions, choose one. Left or right. Most enemies will sit in a corner and not directly in front of the door, so don't overextend by jumping or sliding right in the middle of the room. If you cleared one side immediately, turn to the other side to face potential threats again. You can do this with a jump or another slide, whatever is comfortable with you, but don't hesitate and don't stop moving. Movement is your advantage when entering a room. Sometimes it's even better to move and switch positions very quickly than to open fire, since fire and movement are the two basics of every combat in real life and in video games. So work on that if you haven't already. If you're in a team of 2 or more, the second one has to enter in the opposite direction of the first, and everyone else entering after him can support where necessary. And now don't stop. Keep up the momentum and choose between slower and faster sections of clearing a room. You don't have to rush every single room once you started. Take your time and move on. If you feel like you'll lose a gunfight because the enemy is already facing you and is hitting the first shots, disengage and play it up while doing it. It's not a shame. Live to fight again. So don't let the pressure of rage-paying teammate creep into you. keep in mind it's OP to slide downstairs while disengaging, because it's way faster than just running. Will this win you every gunfight? God, I wish. But as in real life, gun skill, aiming skill, precision, focus, movement, and so many other things have to be taken into consideration. But I can guarantee you, this will help you to increase your chances of winning close quarter battles in urban scenarios. So if you love to fight in urban areas, these things should give you a basic idea of what is important and what you should think about before you engage. Hey, if you're somebody that likes to take it a little more easy, which is totally fine, then you should definitely check out this video where I talk about how to avoid getting killed in the first place. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I'll engage you in the next video. Bye. I got wounded. That's bad, isn't it? Let me just tell you, never ever do a slide cancel in real life.